Students, today we are going to solve the second problem in relation to liquidator final statement of account. Look at the board. Problem number 2. Prakash Processor Limited went into voluntary liquidation on 31st December 2010 when their balance sheet read as follows. Liabilities and assets. 5,000 10% preference shares of rupees 100 each fully paid up, 5 lakh rupees. 2,500 equity shares of rupees 100 each. So the face value of share is 100, paid up rupees 75. So 2,500 equity shares of rupees 100 each, rupees 75 paid up. Then the second type of equity shareholder, 7,500 equity shares of rupees 100 each, rupees 60 paid up. So first type of equity shareholder, out of 100 they paid 75 rupees. The second type of equity shareholder, out of 100 they paid 60. So there are two type of equity share. First type and second type. First type they paid 75. Second type they paid 60. Then 15% debenture secured by floating charge. Interest outstanding on debenture, then creditor. Then asset side, the values given in the asset side, we call it as book values. Land and building, plant and machinery, patent, stock, debtor, cash at bank, profit and loss account. I said earlier, the profit and loss account, general reserve and fictitious assets are not considered to be not considered for the preparation of liquidator final statement of account. We can ignore. Then the preference dividend arrear for 2 years payable on liquidation. So when we make payment to the preference shareholder, along with the preference share capital, we should pay preference share dividend arrear. Okay. Then the creditor included preferential creditor rupees 38,000. So creditor which included preferential creditor worth 38,000. Then the assets realized. So the realized value of assets are given. Land and building 3 lakh, plant and machinery 5 lakh, patent 75,000, stock 1 lakh 50, debtor 2 lakh. The expenses of liquidation amounting to 27,250. The liquidator entitled to a commission of 3% on all assets realized except cash, assuming the final payments were made on 30th June 2017. So after 6 months from the date of balance sheet, after 6 months from the date of liquidation date, all payments were made. Prepare liquidator final statement of account. Now I drawn the format. Liquidator final statement of account, debit side, credit side. So assets realized are recorded in the debit side, then payments are recorded in the credit side. Now we'll start. Debit side, first we'll write the assets realized. Assets realized. First, from balance sheet we can take cash at bank because we need not to realize cash at bank. Cash at bank 75,000. Cash at bank 75,000. So other asset concern we can take the realized value. First one, land and building. Land and building. Land and building realized at 3 lakh. Then plant and machinery. Plant and machinery realized for 5 lakh. Then patents realized 75,000. Then stock 1,50,000. Then debtors 2 lakhs. So total assets realized. We have to add this 75,000 plus 3 lakh plus 5 lakh plus 75,000 plus 1,50,000 plus 2 lakh. So total asset realized value rupees 13 lakh. First we should make payment to liquidator for his remuneration. So first we should pay liquidator remuneration. Already fixed 3% on assets realized except cash. For that we can take land and building, plant and machinery, patent, stock and debtor. So what all will take? Land and building 3 lakh, plant and machinery 5 lakh, patent 75,000, stock 1,50,000, then debtor 2 lakh. So total assets realized 12 lakh 25,000. On that, you will get a 3% commission. Value 36,750. No commission payable on payment of amount to unsecured creditor and preferential creditor. So you will get only one commission, that is percentage on assets realized. Okay. Then second one, you will pay for liquidation expenses. You will pay for liquidation expenses. Liquidation expenses given in the question. The expenses of liquidation amounting to 27,250. 27,250. Then you will pay for debenture holder having floating charge. Debenture holder having floating charge given in the liability side of balance sheet. So 15% debenture secured by floating charge, how much? 2,50,000. Then debenture interest due on 31st December 2010 given in the balance sheet. So 15% debenture secured by floating charge 2,50,000. Along with that, we have to pay interest outstanding on debenture on 31st December 2010. So value 37,500. Then we made payment to debenture holder after 6 months. So 6 month interest we have to pay. Debenture interest outstanding for this period. Liquidation date 31st December 2010. Payment date 36/2011. So we should pay 6 month interest. So the value of debenture is 2,50,000. The rate of interest is 15%. So 2,50,000. Rate of interest 15%. We should pay 6 month interest. So 2,50,000 into 10% into 6/12. So along with that, we'll pay 12,500 interest. 2,50,000 15% into 2,50,000 into 15% into 6/12. So we have to pay 18,750 as interest for the delay date. So 18,750 plus 37,500 plus 2,50,000. So total amount payable to debenture holder having floating charge 3,06,250. Then we should make payment to the preferential creditor. Preferential creditor value. The creditor included preferential creditor, how much? 38,000. So preferential creditor 38,000. Then unsecured creditor. Then we should make payment to unsecured creditor. So total creditor value 3,18,750, of which 38,000 is preferential creditor. So 3,18,750 minus 38,000, the balance 2,80,750 is considered as unsecured creditor. Then we should make payment to the preference shareholder. So 5,000, 10% preference shares of ₹100 each, fully paid up, value 5 lakh. So for preference shareholder, we should return the share capital, along with that preference share dividend arrear. How many years? 5 lakh. The rate of dividend given against the preference share capital 5 lakh, 10%. We have to pay for how many years? The preference dividend arrear for 2 years. So 5 lakh into 10%, 50,000 into 2 years, we'll get 1 lakh. So preference shareholder will get 6 lakh. The total available funds 13 lakh, of which we should pay for 13 lakh. We have total available funds, of which 36,750 payable to liquidator. Then 27,250 payable for liquidation expenses. Total 13 lakh minus 36,750 paid to liquidator for remuneration. Then 27,250 payable for liquidation expenses. Then 3,06,250 payable for debenture holder. Then preferential creditor 38,000, then 2,80,750 payable to unsecured creditor, then 6 lakh payable to preference shareholder. So out of 13 lakh, we should make payment to these. Balance available is 11,000. This we called surplus available. So surplus available for equity shareholder. We got 11,000 rupees. How we got this 11,000? Total available fund 13 lakh, of which we have to deduct this. We'll get surplus how much? 11,000 rupees. Here we have two type of equity share. First type of equity share, 2,500 equity shareholder, they paid 75. The second type, 7,500 equity shareholder, second type. First type, second type. The second type of equity shareholder paid up how much? 60. What we supposed to do? First, the paid up value difference, how much? 15,000. That should be paid to the first type of equity shareholder, because the first type of equity shareholder paid 15 rupees more than the second type of equity shareholder. Okay, the difference how much? 15. That 15 rupees payable to first type of equity shareholder out of this surplus value. So 15 into 2,500, we need 37,500. We need 37,500 to pay the first type of equity shareholder. That is the difference. 15 rupees multiplied by 2,500. But the available funds how much? 11,000. So we cannot make 37,500 to, we cannot make payment to first type of equity shareholder, rupees 37,500. What we have to do? First we have to find total deficiency and deficiency per share. First we have to find total deficiency and deficiency per share. Okay, now I will teach you calculation of total deficiency per share. Calculation of total deficiency and deficiency per share. Calculation of total deficiency and deficiency per share, because we cannot make the paid up difference to the first type of equity shareholder. So what we have to do? We have to find the total deficiency and deficiency per share. First we will take total paid up value. First we will take total paid up value. The first type of equity shareholder paid how much? 1,87,500. The second type of equity shareholder paid up value how much? 4,50,000. So 1,87,500 plus 4,50,000. So the total paid up value, they paid 6,37,500. Total paid up by both the first type and second type of shareholder. Now they have surplus. Surplus available to equity shareholder how much? 11,000. So they paid 6,37,500. 11,000 surplus available for the payment of equity shareholder. So balance considered to be total deficiency 6,26,500. This we consider as total deficiency. This we consider as total deficiency. Now we will find deficiency per share. Deficiency per share. Formula: total deficiency divided by total equity share. Total equity share. So total deficiency we know 6,26,500. Total number of equity share. First type of equity share 2,500. Second type of equity share 7,500. So total equity shares 10,000. So 6,26,500 divided by 10,000. So deficiency per share is 62.65. 62.65 rupees. Deficiency per share formula: total deficiency divided by total equity share. We will get a deficiency per share value. Now we have two type of equity share. First type of equity shareholder, they paid first type of equity shareholder paid up value 75. Second type of equity share paid up value 60. Now we should deduct the deficiency per share. Deficiency per share. Deficiency per share, just now we calculated 62 rupees 65 paise. 62 rupees 65 paise. So the first type of equity share they paid 75 rupees, their deficiency 62 rupees 65 paise. So they suffered deficiency, so balance should be returned to them. So 12 rupees 35 paise returned to the first type of equity shareholder. Equity shareholder, that is first 2500 equity shareholder will get at 12 rupees 35 per share. So first 2500 equity shareholder will get 12 rupees 35 paise. Totally they will get 30,875 because they paid 75, their loss is 62.65. So the excess money should be returned to the first type of equity shareholder. Then move to the second type of equity shareholder. They paid up value, their paid up value 60, but their loss is 62.65. So minus 2.65. This is an amount we should collect from them as calls in arrear. Calls in arrear from second type of shareholder. Second type of shareholder 7,500. For each share we will collect 2 rupees 65 paise. So 7,500 into 2 rupees 65 paise. So we will collect 19,875. What happened now? This realized value increases. How much they increases? How much it will increase? 19,875. So now the total realization is 13,19,875. Payment side also 13,19,875. It will agree. Here what we'll do? What we did, the first type of shareholder, they paid up value 75. Their per share deficiency is 62 rupees 65 paise. So they paid more, because of them the difference should be returned to them. Then the second one, paid up value 60, deficiency per share is 62 rupees 65 paise. The shortage of deficiency we should collect from them as calls in arrear. Students, we completed second problem in relation to liquidate or final statement of account. In next class we will solve different problem. Till then, bye and thank you.